read them for me, and I put the test key, the marks on there, the vowels, so I could read with vowels.
Right.
And then he would go through everything again, all 13 lessons, and translate everything. He was from Liberia. He's in Philadelphia now, as a matter of fact. And then I would take all these lessons and go home and study them. And that happened for about a year and a half in the language section. So then I'm at the university after that. After completing the language section, which was very adventurous, because I had come home just, as a side point, I had come home after my first trip there. It was the second semester when we arrived. And so we were told to not, some of the students told us not to worry about trying to pass for that year to the next year, just to repeat the following year and be stronger in our Arabic. But I decided to try and pass the examinations, and I passed all of them except maybe 3 or 4. So I came home for the summer, and I was preparing. We have a second session when you can take those tests, those examinations before going to the next year. If you pass, you can go ahead. So just to condense some of that, somebody stole my briefcase with my passport and my lessons and everything, my ticket. All of that was in the briefcase, because I went everywhere with it. I guess somebody thought I had something valuable in a worldly sense, you see.
Right.
And so I didn't make it back. So I got another passport, and I sent it off. I got the visa, and when it was sent back, the envelope wasn't sealed, so that passport was lost in the mail. And now the government didn't want to give me a new passport without an interview and a lot of, bureaucracy, which I can understand. So after another whole year, I went back. It was 2 weeks left in the school year. The first week they did a review. The second week was a break for tests. But I passed all the tests. Okay. Now, I'm feeling good, motivated, inspired. Did the next school year, my only full school year. Made good grades. And so at the end of the year, after the results were being posted, I'm looking to see which college I'm being admitted to. I wanted to go to the Faculty of Law. But I didn't find my name there. So maybe it's in Dowa.
So they chose which college to put you into?
They decided according to where you come from, which country you're from, and what they determine is the greatest need for that country. You see, in mature societies, they need a lot more Sharia law, because you have larger numbers of people and more issues to address on a more complicated, complex level.
Right.
But when you have the aqalliyat, as they call the Muslim minority countries, very few people, you're doing a lot of da'wah, a lot of calling to Islam. So they want to do a lot of history and a lot of aqidah or beliefs, you see, that type of thing.
Right.
So they can change. I was admitted to Sharia according to my acceptance letter, but they could change that. And traditionally they have put a lot of Arabs, Africans, and Asians in there because they have large numbers of Muslims.
So you didn't find your name there?
Not there. I looked at all the colleges. I know it couldn't be local because language, I'm too weak to go to language. Quran, I'm not Hafiz. Hadith, I'm new. You send a person to be muhaddith as a new Muslim is not that. It's not that often. Not often it's done. Although we did have some Muslims from America to go there, several as a matter of fact.
Right.
So I found my name nowhere, and somebody said, "Look over another wall." So I said, "What's on the other wall?" It listed the people who have been expelled. Why? I'm expelled from the university. I got this debtor. I got rid of my house, everything I own. Now I want to study. This is what I want to do in life. My name was there. So I called the sheikh who took me there, and I told him what had happened. He said, "Whatever you do, don't leave until I get there." Now, you know how Saudi is, right? If you don't have your iqam, you don't have your papers, they lock you up over here, your kids over there, your wife over there, and the next boat out 3, 4, 6 months later, then they put everybody on the boat, So I said, how do I stay here like this until he gets here? Allah made it
Where was
easy.
he?
He was in Nigeria.
He
was in Nigeria.
Okay.
He was still working in America, but he was in Nigeria at that time. So he had obligations in Egypt, Nigeria, and in Atlanta, and I never know which route he's going just to get there. So we made it. We stayed, and it was adventurous, but we made it. And he came, and we went to see Sheikh Ibn Baz, and that's a whole nother segment. That is, he's an amazing person. But he said the long and short of it is that he wrote a letter to the university saying that he would be responsible for me as long as I'm in the kingdom. And the only thing they had to do was allow me, that he requested them to do, is allow me to attend classes, and everything else would be his responsibility.
Right.
You see, and he had never known me before. He knew the sheikh because he was the chancellor of the university when sheikh was studying there, and he finished 2 faculties in 4-year period. Sheikh Abdul Rashid,
Right.
Jazakallah khairan. So eventually they let me back in. So now I'm motivated, inspired again. I'm supposed to be doing this, you know, a sense of purpose, you know. I get to the university and I go to class the first day, and it was impossible. I didn't know what they was saying again. I was lost. And somebody beside me would say, "Who would you need?" He's a new student, came from Sherwood, and I'm writing down his home again. So after class, you know, some people say, "Come on, we're having a study session. We can tutor you." Some guys from South Africa and a very knowledgeable and pious person, I think, from Chad. And the cycle continued. And that's all I did every day, all day, was study. Yeah, sometimes I fall asleep and there'll be a stack of books in the bed between my wife and that. So, you know, on the weekends, you start up to Fajr and you study all day, you know.
And how many years were you in, how many years did you study in Medina?
I was there off and on between those interruptions. It was from 81 to 87. About 5.5 years studying. A good 5.5 years studying, maybe, something like that.
And then you finally graduated from there?
Yes.
And went in the Sharia college?
Yes.
MashaAllah. So, I mean, what was it like for you when you came back to America? I mean, what were your ambitions to do with the knowledge you had gained there?
My only ambition was to be a practicing Muslim.
Right.
And know what I'm supposed to do. And to cultivate a relationship within myself, with myself, so that I know who I am and what I'm about and what I'm supposed to be doing, and to keep myself on point doing that. That was my first objective.
Right.
The second objective was to cultivate my relationship with my Creator and position and posture myself with Him in the appropriate manner, and to keep myself on point in that regard. And after that, whatever benefit I could be to anybody else, fine. But I never wanted to be an imam, never want to be a sheikh, counselor, any of that. You know, I'm really very introverted person, believe it or not. And I prefer to be in small numbers of people or by myself, really. And I'm very happy with that. But when you go to Medina or somewhere back in the 80s, you know, you come back, people want to make you the sheikh and, you know, all of these things. So.
Well, you have to admit, I mean, it's quite an achievement, you know, for an American to go to another country, learn another language. That's the language of our religion. I mean, people are impressed by that one, you know, because it takes, you didn't mention here, but it takes a lot of sacrifice.
It does.
To do that one.
It takes a total sacrifice. You know, they say in Arabic, if you give yourself to knowledge, your whole self, full commitment, it'll give you a part of it.
Right.
But if you give it a part of yourself, in other words, you don't make a full commitment, it'll give you nothing.
Right.
So unless you make a full commitment, like you were saying about leaving, you just leave, you just go. There are guys here have been talking about, Sheikh, I need to go somewhere and study. For 30 years they've been saying this. I'm convinced the first time you tell me. You got to convince yourself. Right. So it takes a total commitment, a total commit. Everything else has to be put on hold. There were guys there who would not even answer their mail from home because they don't want to know what's going on at home. They may be compelled to go back. They want to stay and complete their studies, and whatever the situation is when they return, fine, they'll deal with that.
But now you, you said at that time you weren't Hafiz of Quran, but now you have completed?
I did Tahfidh. I sat with a sheikh and I memorized Quran page for page, word for word. Now after that is done, the second phase is to just put this together now. Because you have these segments, these components, now you have to make a whole of it. And I started that, which is called the door, you could say revision, where you would recite a juz, 2 juz per day, or half juz, or something of that nature, as opposed to not just one page. It's easy for a person with a decent memory to memorize a page and recite it and not remember it tomorrow, you see. But now you have to put that all together. I didn't complete that with a sheikh, so I don't say I'm Hafiz.
Okay.
And I was like in my mid-40s when I did that, so the memory is not as strong then as it is when you're a child. And it's a greater challenge.
Okay.